Greetings and salutations. Ben here, and welcome to the Sunday night hanging, well, right here on Sundays, because it's the name and it's easy to match up with the day. If you're new, please subscribe. You'll regret it for about half an hour, and then you won't regret it and you'll enjoy it. So please subscribe, march into 5K. And, if you're already returning and stuff, welcome back. Speaking of welcoming and backing, the SPJ in the house, my good friend, fellow tone chaser, host of Stompbox Saturday.
Please, you're only too kind. What's going on, peeps? I told you guys I was going to show some new toys on Monday. So I figured I might as well put a little bit of something into it when we get started. Thanks for having me, buddy. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Let's see, we got a bunch of people already in here. Who do we got? We've got Charles 75N. Great to see. Good show today, Charles. He does Guitar Safari every Sunday, noon Eastern. I'll say that because I'm in Eastern. Ferd Burfel. We've got Speaka. Good to see you. DJ Play Nice, Blackjack Guitar, Paul McNary, and the Cats. Ferd Burfel. Martian Murray. Good to see you. Who else here? Elbarge is here. Good to see you, Lee. Blackjack Guitar. Randy Crooks. There's Brother Trev Symmetry, co-host of Canucks with Guitars on Mondays. Sassy Cat's here. Hip Metal Works.
What's up, Sassy?
Hobo Roadie. Michael Krause. He says, I actually got a notification. I'm a bit worried now. Right? I know. That's right. Unbelievable. SPJ in the house.
The algorithm actually works?
Who knew?
Who knew?
There's Gary, 1952, our newest channel member. If you'd like to also become a channel member, click the join button. Why don't you? We got a Zoom hang coming up this Wednesday evening for channel members and patrons. They're always fun. Gary, somebody's traveling. They got they're tuned in on the Zoom, showing on the dashboard of the car. Another person will probably fall asleep. Another person might have one too many cold snacks. It's all fun.
Please don't tune into these things. Try to listen to them. Put them on the stereo, or listen in at like a set of headphones with one ear in and one ear out. Right. Don't try to watch it when you're driving, people.
No. Josh Tamberg's here. All Dave, all night. Billy Baloney. Who else we got here? Mason Douglas. Good to see you, Mason. Who else did I see sneak on in here? The early birds. JP Page 2. Dave Chase. Good to see you. Of course, Terry's 3Gs. Moderator to the stars. And
what's up,
us.
Terry? Good little crowd tonight.
Joe. Tonight. Cool. Yeah, we already got 42 people watching. So if you've got any questions for either of us, ask away. What's up, Ryan? OU812.
Excellent. I love that. I love that username. OU812.
Right.
Very nice. Very cool.
The other co-host of Guitar Safari, Presley, California Customs in the house.
Excellent.
Nice. Awesome. Yes. All right. Before we get started, Sean, you put out a community post a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I did.
And I almost replied, but I went, nope, I got you coming on. So I'm going to say this to you.
Oh, dear.
I disagreed with one of your posts. And what the post
I posted a thing, and I'm like, I did post a thing. What did I post?
But in a good way. No, you put, with all due respect, why is there a Waylon Jennings phaser?
Oh. That.
Well,
yeah.
My friend.
Well, did you buy yourself?
Who used a phaser more in music than Waylon Jennings?
Hey, look, it has nothing to do with Waylon Jennings and the fact that he used phaser at all. Mm-hmm. I'm fully aware and think, hey, if anybody should have a signature phaser, it should probably be him.
I'm just saying. Yep.
My thing comes more from this. It's very clear to me that it's basically just a repackage of the Hammertone phaser, which I don't know if any of you have gotten to hear or play any of the Hammertone series. I've tried, but very unsuccessfully. to try some of those pedals out. But
Right.
most of the hammer tone series I've just found to be very underwhelming. Or
Right.
I wouldn't even say that I've been whelmed by them. The other pedals, you know, with the like light up indicators on the
Yep. Yeah,
knobs,
those are nice.
those I have liked quite
Yeah.
a few of the ones that I've
Pricey,
played.
but nice.
Yeah, bit pricey, but you know, considering that custom enclosure,
Mhm.
definitely custom knobs to be made.
Yep.
Uh, you know, everything that particular line feels like everything was done from the ground up.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
Waylon Jennings phaser, it's like, well, let's just take a hammer tone enclosure, let's do it up in flat black with a little, you know, artwork to say like,
Mhm.
oh, this is the Waylon Jennings signature phaser, and it's like, okay, he probably used a small stone anyway.
Started with a Maestro, Small
Okay.
Stone, and Phase 90 over the years. He
Oh,
used all the
oh,
phasers.
so he was quite the phaser connoisseur.
Oh yeah. Hence,
Okay.
right
Yes.
there in my heart. What's up, Mark
Yeah.
Taft? Good to see you, my friend, and D-Mac. Yeah, and it was funny because watching the review from Fender, they were saying it's based on the 70s release of blah, blah, blah. I'm like, when in the 70s did Fender put out pedals?
Wait, hold on. Actually, okay.
What's up, Nikki?
Several years ago, and by several years ago, do not ask me when that was. But it was several years back. Fender did vintage reissues of a volume pedal, a fuzz wah, and a phaser. The
Okay.
phaser was like a giant. I'm sure that there's a picture I can find
What's
somewhere
up, John Shane?
online. But it was like a giant old school looking phaser, kind of like what
Right.
everybody would probably want Gibson to do with Maestro and
Right.
release like a
Do the
like a
big
fake.
enclosures. The smaller ones are okay, and even then, they're
Yes.
not that small. Like, pick a lane, Maestro. Like,
I
oh
think
wow, you shrunk them to the size of 70s Electro Harmonics pedals.
Yes. Okay, here it is. It was called the Fender Classics Series Phaser. It looked like that.
Okay, I want it.
Yeah, that's the phaser that they're
Yeah.
talking about.
Okay.
If I could get my arm any closer without,
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I
re-aggravating
was talking with Charles 75N here in the chat about the phaser, and it's got the 2, 4, or 6 stage option. It's got the bypass to put in the sweep mode, which is Waylon setting. And he says, well, didn't you get the Keeley custom shop phaser just a few months ago and doesn't it have all those options? I said, yes. He says, so why do you want a Waylon phaser? I said, well, it's got a Waylon logo on it. That's the only, that's the biggest reason. It's got the Waylon logo, which isn't even on the front. It's on the side.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's if it's got our hero's name. I mean, why do so many people still buy? Well, okay, let's face it. The 5150 just is a great amp to begin with. So, but everybody's like, give me anything Eddie, and everybody's gonna be happy.
Yep.
Which this is sort of tangentially related to Eddie. I saw somebody ask, like, what are the new toys you were talking about?
Yes. Unbelievable he's anxious.
Well, should we talk about some of these new toys?
Let's talk about some of these new toys.
All right. The most obvious one.
What's up, Jay?
I put out the call to my friends at Gibson Brands, because I do have friends at Gibson Brands. And
I have friends that have friends at Gibson Brands. See how that
there you
works.
go. Yes, you do. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
And well, essentially, I asked them to borrow a couple of guitars because I had a video idea that I wanted to explore. And one of the ones that I've had my eye on really since they put it out was the SM1H. Mostly because, one, I don't have a shred guitar, but notice something very specific about this model. It's a single pickup Floyd Rose metal guitar. It's not really which is a thing.
That pickup will let magnetic pull on the strings.
Yeah, exactly. And this also has the series parallel switch. So, yeah, I wanted to explore something related to the idea of a single pickup guitar.
Right.
And this being something much more in the within the genre that I normally like to work in, being harder and heavier styles of music, I was pretty stoked on this because, hey, one pickup, one volume knob with a little bit of variation to it,
Sure.
and a Floyd. So
Yep.
this would be something for the heavy kind of player, like I usually am, that I figured, hey, you know, what could you do to get more out of less? That's the
Yes.
overall concept that I'm working with here. And then there's something in this. There's something in this case. I don't know. Should I go for the case now? Should I wait for the case?
Let's see. How many likes do we have there, Trev? Let me know. We got 55 people watching. Let's get to at least 40 likes.
Yeah, if we can do that, I'll open the case sooner rather than later.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to go on. Is I wanted to kind of explore that idea of less is more. And just a little spoiler alert for how that video kind of came to be, which I'll address when I actually do the full video, is I was playing at church on just any given Sunday morning. I don't remember exactly when it was, but my main church guitar for a good long while has been that Vola Vosti that I actually showed you guys the last time I was on the show. And that thing is like, it's HSH, it's got a Goto whammy bar, it's, you know, 5-way blade, volume tone, it's got a coil split. It's quickly becoming my number 2 guitar in the arsenal. It's pretty crazy how that guitar has worked its way into so much stuff. But it occurred to me on that day, despite all the versatility that thing had, I was rolling the entire worship set with a specific pedal combination, and all I was doing to get tonal variation was turn down the volume knob, turn down the tone knob, different combinations of the bridge pickup and volume and tone knob positions. And it was like, man, okay, I want to explore more of that. The idea that it's one thing to have a guitar that has all that stuff and just stick with one sound.
Sure.
But what do you do when that's all you have? You only have the one pickup, you have the one volume knob, you have the one tone knob. And so that was kind of where I wanted to go with that idea. And I was telling Ben before we came on what's in the case. I played that this past Thursday. My church does a corporate prayer hour in the morning twice a week, and I brought that along, and it was the same thing. It was the same pedal combination actually as that Sunday with the Vola, and it was just all I can do is I've got the one bridge pickup, I've got a volume knob, I've got a tone knob. If anybody's paying close attention, they probably already can guess what's in the case. But that's all I have.
I have an idea, but I think it's actually something else that I have an idea of what it is. So
interesting.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you only have, that's all I had. And it was so good. It was so awesome. It was so much fun. It sounded so good. And I kind of chalk it up to being like a sum of all the parts though. Because I have a Walrus Audio ACS1, which they just uploaded a new firmware for. Buddy, let me tell you, that new firmware is just so good. Nice. I do a Fender amp, Fender Twin style on one side, and a Marshall Blues Breaker on the other, and that's just like, it's
perfect.
It's really good. It's really good.
Speaking of Blues Breakers, I demoed this past week, folks, in case you missed it. The latest offering from LPD Pedals, the Lucent with Boost, which is a Blues Breaker in a box. And the boost can be before or after or both.
Excellent.
because you actually have independent boost controls. And then
Excellent.
toggle.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. Unbelievable ass. Yet another question for Sean. Chase Bliss mood on the church board?
On the desk in front of me.
Hasn't had a chance yet.
No, look, that video I literally finished on Tuesday, and the rest of the week was just spent preparing all this stuff, because it's not just a demo that's rolled out. If people watched that video, which if you haven't, I would greatly appreciate if you did. Pay attention, because if you watch
right here, thank you, Charles. There's a link to Sean's channel, just in case you live
Excellent.
under a rock.
There you
Not
go.
aware of
Thank you.
Sean's channel.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that.
10,000 strong.
Yeah, man. It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Tone Dragon.
But if you pay attention and you watch to the very end, there's a little something special for all you who stay through to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't be making that 100% public and promoting it as heavily until possibly Tuesday or Wednesday. Depends on how my things lined up. So no, I've not had a chance to put this on a board at all yet. Actually, no, I take that back. I did put this on a board that I put together for those PV videos that I just did. And I was only running that in mono. So it was kind of a board that I put together to basically serve incorporating stuff with the PV Invective MH. Right. And then also thinking like, okay, if this was my amp and I was to go into a songwriting session, what would I want on the board in order to, make the music that I want to make? And so I put that on there. There's a really fun reverb sound that I like to use with it. It's a little crushed. It's a little lo-fi. It's all kinds of fun. Kind of is almost like my reverb tail is running through an old NES console, and I kind of like that.
I love it. And that's one of the reasons I love Sean so much, because like myself, we build a pedal board for any excuse possible. Oh, we got to demo that. Well, I need a specific board, so I got to build a board for that.
Yep. I wish I had more monetary resources to be able to build more boards, because there's one down on the floor in front of me, and it's specifically, that's what I use at church. And it's changed from that video I did last year. It's changed ever so slightly. I added a couple more things, but it's the same pedal board. It's the same core pieces, but I added a few other things that I thought would work better. Watch out, Ben. Sean is a troublemaker. I'm a little bit of a troublemaker. Good to see you.
Legend.
Yeah, Unbelievable has been asking quite a few questions.
What's up, Mason Douglas? He says, pedal board tape, dual lock of choice these days?
Mason Douglas. Okay.
Actually, I'll be honest. I buy the narrower strips of Velcro, because I make little feet out of Velcro now to conserve, and it's easier to pull up. And I just buy my Velcro at the dollar store.
Yeah.
I don't want it to stick overly well. That's
Well, I'm kind of the opposite. I used to be a very staunch believer in industrial strength Velcro.
Yeah, and cover the entire bottom of the pedal, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And the entire surface of the board. Like I have 3 pedal boards down in the garage that are all done up that way. It's the entire bottom, the entire platform.
To allow for any configuration under the moon, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And only recently, and by recently I mean within the last 3 years, have I become more of a dual lock guy. Just because it's been much better for me to actually use that. So what's on my board right now, it's all done up with dual lock. And obviously with the way that inflation has been with just about everything here, I don't know how things are in Canada, but here in the States, like I passed a gas station today, and it was $6 a gallon for the lowest grade. It was rough. But I managed to find the dual lock I like. on the official 3M store on Amazon, and it was like I could get 2 packs for less than the price of 1 pack if I bought it at like Home Depot or the hardware store. So that's what I use these days, simply because I need things to stay put.
Yeah.
Especially with the church board, because it goes to church with me, it goes to rehearsal, it comes back. Sometimes I bring it in here and I'll use it for demos. Other times I won't. I need certain things to stay put, and it stays put.
I hear you. Yeah, Dan asks, why do they put those the stupid pedal makers put those rubber bases on their pedals? Well, someone like Lawrence from the factory doesn't. He'll include them on a little piece of paper, so you can put feet on if you want. But yeah, that's annoying because I just rip them off to be able to put,
pretty much.
On. And
well, it's like if you think about the
boss
pedal,
the whole bottom, you can lift up the pedal board by grabbing any pedal. And it's like, but then it got to the point where I need a crowbar to remove a pedal from the pedal board. And no.
Well, if you think about, and to Surfer B, $6 a gallon, you must be in California. Yes, I am. And
then again, I'm paying about the same, and I'm not in California. So.
Yeah, I could make comments about that, but this is not a geopolitical podcast.
No.
But you think about Boss pedals, like when the compact Boss pedals came out, like pedalboards weren't really a thing. Like guys might have a few pedals on the floor, but there's actually a story, and I think I want to say it was Angie Bowie, and I think that was David's first wife. She was talking about Mick Ronson and like his fuzz boxes on the floor. And he's like carrying around all these things and, putting on. And I guess she at one point told a tour manager or a roadie or something, like, nail them to a board and then nail them to the floor, because he was always dragging them around because he's like going around the stage and his cords were just following him everywhere. And I guess it was causing a bit of a tumult. Because he was getting unplugged and they didn't want that.
No. Or all of a sudden you see the amp teetering over because he's. Can you imagine?
Have my own experience with that, but we won't get to that.
Yeah, that's all right. So I think we have the likes. I think I saw 44 at last count. Somebody said so. 55 watching, 53 watch. 2 people just left as soon as I threatened. A guitar unveiling.
Look, I'll open the case. You just gotta click the button. And you know what? If you guys click the button, I don't know how many are watching. I'm still on the StreamYard. I can't see how many people are watching. I don't know how many thumbs up this thing has. All I'm saying is that if you want to see what's in the case and you want to find out what I told people at the end of my mood video, which may be related to something that is free, and I'm giving away. If we're at 44 likes, let's just get to 50. Let's just get to 50. I think we can do that. Just get to 50.
We got over 50 people watching.
Get some more people.
Log into your alternate account. I don't know.
Yeah.
Create a new account.
Yeah, come on. We all got to trick the algorithm somehow.
Exactly.
There are 25 thumbs down, but they can.
I wouldn't be surprised, unbelievable, on some of my shows.
Joe says it's a Glary. That you figured it out. Right. Oh man.
Cheers, Sassy Cat. Have a good one.
Hit the like on your way up.
We're at 53 now. Well, there we are.
All right. What do you say? Open the case?
Let's do it.
Open the case. Let's do it.
I don't have a drum roll, so there we are.
Doesn't matter. But this is the color doesn't come through on the camera, but this is a nice.
Hang on. What do we have?
Wait, hold on. Wait, is he here? Is that him?
No.
It's Sean Pierce Johnson. What's up, bro? Oh, it's here. All right. I thought I missed you. I was late. I'm sorry. Hey, it's Quentin James. See you later.
I like at the end how he was just like, look, this kid.
The one and only Quentin James.
The only one. The one and only.
Surprised he didn't ask about the calendar.
The calendar. Oh, yeah. I took down the calendar. No calendar.
For those
anymore.
who know, that was an ongoing thing.
That was back in the day. Brown alligator case. Who's ready for the case? Let's.
All right. I'm loving the brown alligator.
Brown alligator.
So
I can neither confirm nor deny whether this comes from a certain company's high tier line.
Right. Upper crust, if you will.
Upper crust. Yeah.
Top shelf, where they keep the good whiskey. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, that's what I thought, but that wasn't what I thought. Because for a moment, when you're like, it might not be what you think it is, and I thought maybe he's got one of those. What's his name? Jared James Nichols.
Yeah,
I actually same thing, only different.
Yeah, I actually asked if I could go ahead and get one of those, but I guess with a lot of the Epiphone stuff, the artist stuff is limited. Yeah. I didn't realize that a lot of the artist models were not, standard production.
Right.
So I just put it out like, hey man, I want to do some single pickup guitar. I want to do a single pickup guitar video. I'd love to be able to check out a Junior. And the Kramer. Two different. The idea being, this is the traditional. This is the thing that most everybody knows, and when you think of
single pickup guitar, that's your first.
Precisely.
Because we're not jazz guys, so we're not thinking like a 125 with just a neck pickup.
Right.
Like, who gets just a neck pickup? Oh,
right.
Jazz people. That's
and so I just kind of, I'll kind of just play what I had going that.
And it's got the burst, which is the second best to a TV yellow. So I could go either way because I love me a tobacco burst.
Yeah, just
nice.
It's a real. I was telling Ben before and I think I just told you guys that I use this at the prayer time, and this is the sound that I had going. It's the Rev Tilt, which I actually had the gain set a little higher, so it was more like this. And then that goes into Keeley Echoes, then into a Walrus Audio Slow, and then into a Keeley Hydra, and then the amp is the ACS-1. And just going with that, like, this is with the volume at, like, just past 4. Right. I have the tone knob, like, at 5.5.
Well, it's because they wire those things right too with the good pots, because it is only one pickup. You can back them off, and it doesn't all of a sudden go like murky, dark immediately or anything like that.
But the other interesting thing too is that when you actually have one of these things in your hand and you actually are manipulating the controls, what really struck me is even with the knobs set where they are, just right and left hand control. Let me mute my microphone real quick and I'll just kind of demonstrate a little.
Sure. Yeah, much like Unbelievable. Very much.
It's
Okay.
this balance between your picking hand and your fretting hand, but then also it causes you to find other sounds by playing at different places on the guitar. So you get kind of that kind of twangy little thing, and if you turn it up the tone knob even more,
Bumble back.
you get that stabbing thing. But if you go closer to the neck, get that sort of what you typically think with the Junior, that like meaty P90 kind of sound. So just with that sound rolling, and I was running in stereo, so I had like it's basically the halo echo effect, but on the echoes it's much more pronounced and far less smudged of an effect. And then at one point I threw a panning tremolo on it. That was just
nozzle.
All kinds of nuts. But yeah, this thing is just
Jerry's asking, is that the custom shop one, or is that Gibson USA?
So yeah, that's something I can't confirm or deny because of a couple things. One, on the case, it says that it is a Les Paul Junior custom. However, there's nothing on the guitar that indicates that it's made at the custom shop.
Right.
Second thing is that there's a serial number on the case, but on the back of this headstock, it not only has a B on some gaff tape, so obviously this is a B stock model, but it's also stamped demo. So this is very clearly one that's not meant for sale.
Right.
So I'm inclined to say that it is a USA Junior, but I can't say with 100% certainty. I haven't confirmed it with my Gibson contact yet. But this thing has definitely been played. It's not. Well,
and there is the possibility, because one would assume, okay, like if you're going to do a prototype for a new Gibson USA model, well, who makes the prototype? Probably a custom shop guy.
Probably, yeah.
Be my guess. Although I'm not saying there isn't a competent builder, Gibson USA, they could pull one of their senior guys off the floor and say, "Hey, build this variant," and then that's an option. Because let's be honest, they're all variants of something they're already building. They're not
pretty much,
like Gibson, and we don't want them to.
Yeah, and I mean, it's to speak on that, like reinventing the wheel thing. It's when you think of the Junior, it's been this way for God knows how long. And then you get
68 years, 67
years. And then you get Jared James Nichols coming along and like marrying the Junior with a custom. And it's like all of a sudden what was old now has like a new thing going for it. If you want something that's a little bit more close to what we assume to be a Les Paul and but you want some of that Junior aesthetic and that Junior idea, it's right there for you.
Or you want a P90 Les Paul and we'll never use the neck pickup. Get rid of it.
Yeah. But I love this thing. It's proven to be far more of a hit than I anticipated it to. That's just the let me go to my really, I call this my session clean sound. Lots of reverb, lots of compression, lots of delay.
Dan in New Jersey is asking mahogany or maple neck.
If I had to guess, it's probably going to be whatever it says on the website.
Mahogany, I believe.
Yeah, so that's I don't think there's anything different about this from stock, and I was very adamant about like what I was wanting to get. I didn't want anything like fancy. I just wanted to try what's available. So yeah, they just sent me They're literally got sent to me from the Gibson garage. So this has to go back in like a week and a half. So I better start that video PDQ. Right. But yeah.
Well, unlike the mood, Sean, I'd be very impressed if you could pull a 45-minute demo of a freaking Junior without a ton of noodling. If you're doing that's half an hour of noodling in a 45-minute video on a Junior. Actually, it's probably 40 minutes of noodling of a 45 minute.
Well, I mean, at the same time, it's like you have to think, and this is really one of the tipping points for why I wanted to check out these guitars with one pickup. It's like, how can you get more out of less? And it's like, I just rolled the tone knob all the way back and I'm playing this, you know, session clean sound. And it's like,
right. And nobody would think that's a Junior Bridge P90 with the tone rolled off.
Most people would probably think I'm doing a really terrible job at playing like Holdsworth, but you know, to me, it's like
good enough for the girls I date.
The thing that and again, it's like with the single pickups, you just think about how many guitar players over the years have used a single pickup. It's not just Eddie. It's guys like Leslie West. It's guys like Holdsworth. It's even like metal guys. Like
you see back in the day where someone's literally like playing, let's say, a Les Paul standard, but the pickup selector is taped into the bridge position.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And a lot of other guys, you know, you could easily, sure, you're not gonna like, oh, let's see how the clean tone sounds. Maybe I could just, you know, as I'm and there's like your clean tone demo, and it's like, well, this kind of gives I think it was Unbelievable who asked like what my approach to a demo is. And it's like, okay, I'm seeing a lot of questions about specs of this guitar. I'm assuming that everything with this is stock. Everything on it is stock. I just saw a question about the wraparound bridge. Everything on this is stock. It came straight from the Gibson garage, so it's not anything special. It is just a stock. I'm assuming right now a stock Les Paul Jr. Gibson USA model.
Yep.
But what you could do, and one of the things that I would probably end up exploring would be like, okay, well, say you have this sound. Here's a riff I play all the time. Well, what can I do maybe to soften that up a little bit? Okay, well, let's just turn that tone down to 8. Still got that, you know, attack and that note separation. Let's turn it down a bit more.
Sure.
And then that's where I'm kind of like, my ears are perking up because we've turned this down now to about 4, and I'm still hearing this great amount of high-end content. It's just getting a little bit softer. Turn it down a little up. That's where some of that glossy high end starts to go away. It starts to round out a lot more, and it's not quite as hi-fi anymore. Roll it down all the way, and here we have a jazz guitar. So to like approach, if I was to say, take this guitar, this single pickup guitar, and turn it into like a 20-minute video, it would be a lot. It would incorporate a lot of what I want to incorporate into the video, which is the reason why I have the guitar, exploring how you can get more out of it. And then you do the same thing with a dirty sound, you know, find a really heavy sound, but it's like, okay, does a P90 really get heavy? Okay, so maybe we want to get rid of some of that twang. Let's turn that down to like 6.5. And then if you wanted to maybe, because you're some kind of sadist or something, and play a doom on it. that it's like, just turn the tone knob down because you don't really need a whole lot of high end for that.
Right. Exactly. We got Ryan Hull. He says, howdy, folks. Am I here yet? I assume you are, Ryan. You're typing in the chat, so I assume you're here. Jerry F asked, nylon nut. I believe a lot of those are coming with tusk nuts these days, which is fine by me.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's whatever it says on the Gibson USA website. Assume that's what this spec is.
Joe says, I just got a guitar today with a wraparound bridge. Are they hard to dial in? And I heard some have a slight lean. Easiest intonation you'll ever do in your life because it's only 2 set screws.
Yeah.
If anything. And if some don't even have that. So guess what? There is no intonation adjustment. It is what it is.
And I was really worried about that because I haven't had a guitar like this with a wraparound. No, that's not true. It's not true. I had a PRS Tremonti SE many years ago, and that had a PRS wraparound bridge for it. That did have individual string
I was going to
slots.
say that they're adjustable. It's an adjustable wraparound bridge, which is pretty cool.
That one actually didn't have individual saddles. It just had individual grooves for the strings. And it was like, it was intonated as you might expect an acoustic guitar, like a split acoustic guitar nut to be cut. So it was a single piece. You just had 6 lines, which were effectively the string saddles that would guide the string. So, but that, like, you couldn't move a saddle back and forth to intonate it. And I've been really impressed by. I mean, I was playing. Let's see, there were 2 singers, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, keys. We generally have like an ambience backing track behind us and drums. And even when I was going higher up on the neck, I wasn't noticing it clashing with any of the singers or with any of the other instruments. So I've been pretty happy with this. I know that there are some aftermarket ones where they have adjustable saddles, but
like some people are mentioning the Music City bridge. I will say, like, the newer Gibson stuff, they pretty much sussed that out. It was more the original. Like, if you buy an OG vintage Junior, you may have some intonation problems. That's where you would get the Music City bridge. But the new stuff, I think they've largely incorporated that into the stock stuff now, because guess what? They've realized guitar players want to be able to intonate their guitars. Is what I'm saying.
For real.
What's up, Martin?
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like when you think about the wraparound bridge, it's like I many years ago, I thought to myself the first time I saw a wraparound bridge, and I was like, so is that just the stop tail piece? Just that's all it is? Because that's what it looks like. It just looks like
and that's what became the tailpiece of the Tune-o-matic was the original bridge for the Les Pauls.
Yeah.
Just put at more of an angle. There was no intonation in the ridge per se. It was, you hope the guy at the factory drilled those 2 posts in at the right location.
For real. Yeah, you just got to hope. But yeah, this is great. I love it. It's been so much fun. And I'm definitely going to be getting up to some interesting stuff with it. And hopefully exposing some ideas of like how you can get more out of less. But believe me, I don't need to help anybody get less out of more.
My niece asked, is Gibson making any new SG Juniors? I'm not seeing any. I will take a look. I have not seen, especially Gibson, possibly Epiphones, but I'm not sure on the Gibsons. I got to go. Actually, I'm planning on going over to Long and Quaid tomorrow to do some more demos. So if a fellow remembers, he'll check, because I can enter into the database and stuff, which is I just poke an employee in the arm until he's like, fine, what do you need to look up? I was like, well, if you gave me my own login, we wouldn't have this problem.
Oh, boy.
But they won't. I don't know why. Probably because I don't work there.
He just keeps...
Which is funny, Sean, you would laugh. It was about a month and a half ago. I'm in there shooting demos, and I just use a lesson room that's behind the guitar wall. And I come out, and one of their district managers is there doing some merchandising. And I was like, sup? And he's like, hey, who are you? It's like, I'm Ben. And he sees me just take a guitar, put it up on the wall, grab another one. And He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I just come in here and shoot crappy videos with all your inventory to, move it along quicker.
Okay.
You moving product for us? I said, oh yeah, all the time. Well, carry on. I don't know if I can or not.
Right.
And it's his fault for not looking it up either. What's up, Devin?
So just to answer that question earlier, Gibson USA is currently making an SG Junior. It is on the website. They only make it in vintage cherry, and it is currently not in stock, but it costs $13.99.
There we go. And it shouldn't be any other color than vintage cherry.
I wouldn't mind a black one. Maybe. They do a dual pickup version, the SG Special.
Right.
That is available in, it looks like, vintage cherry and black. That is $15.99. So, one more P90 costs $200. But then you consider the routing and all that stuff.
Yeah, we got to pay a guy to chisel it out. Sure, they're not using a chisel anymore. The only Gibsons do. Let's see. Martin says the only Gibsons he likes. I have assumed is the Explorer. I'm kind of partial to them now myself. Haven't snagged on one. Just saying.
Well, there's nothing wrong with an Explorer. It's always a fun time with an Explorer.
That's the 2023 outlay. Looking over at it, 3 more payments and she's mine. Just like a trailer trash guy I am.
Well, technically, it's in your possession, and possession is 9/10 of the law. They say.
Great.
So there you go. There you go.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, this is gonna be fun. There's been some good stuff coming in. I've actually am using one of the new toys. Also, is sitting right in front of me. I was telling Ben about this. This is a Grace Designs Rex mic pre in a pedal. It's basically everything you could want. It's got phantom power. It can be a DI box. Got a high pass filter, low and high EQ. It's even got, check this out, click this button. I can put a boost on. Or I can
when you sing and lead.
Yeah,
lead
exactly. Boost, right? And I can even... Nope, nothing happened to the audio. I muted myself, so that's my cough button. But I was saying to Ben, the thing that's really interesting to me is this has an effects loop in it. So I'm going to do a video of that where I'm going to incorporate some acoustic guitar, maybe some other stuff if I feel like it. Sure. But I am very much looking forward to using this more often because I want to start incorporating more acoustic guitar stuff onto the channel. So, run an acoustic guitar through a really crushy Atari Nintendo kind of reverb or delay from a mood or anything really. I could even just run it through a compressor if I wanted to because it's there.
A little chorus, always nice on an acoustic, just saying.
Dimension. That's what I'm going to try. Dimension.
Ooh, I like that idea.
With the DC2W in the SDD mode or the SDE or whatever mode, and just do button 1. That's the first thing I'm going to do with it. And I'm sure like just that tiny little bit of motion that the DC2W can get in that mode, man. Just I have a feeling that's going to be a real hit.
Devin says pedals with available effects loops seems to be the new move. My Telegraph has that feature also. I would like to see that every delay pedal, so that way you can put effect on your just the repeats,
just like the DoD Rubberneck that has an effects loop in it.
Yep,
which I did a demo of earlier this year. So if anybody wants to watch
that's right,
you can go ahead and do that.
Unbelievable says Rainbow Machine on an acoustic.
Oof, man, yeah, that would work. I borrowed a Rainbow Machine from someone for a little bit, and I liked some of the things that I could do with it. Just not too crazy about it. It was sort of like, I
think it's one of those things you got to have an expression pedal with it to take full advantage. I have one, and it comes and goes on the board, depending on what I need. And I have it just set. I don't know. I use Aaron's setting because, Aaron knows pedals. So he's like, here's my settings. And it does a thing. So I just turn on the magic's always on. So when I engage it, it just automatically goes into chaos.
I imagine that's the conversation of like, here's my setting. It does a thing. I can imagine that was the conversation.
It was literally FaceTiming each other. He goes, show me the pedal. He goes, yeah, a little more. Yeah, okay, yeah, next knob, okay, yeah. And he's looking at his pedal board at the same time. What's up? See you, DJ. Play nice. So, yeah. And then I think I adjusted a knob, and then I'm like, well, that's it. It's coming off the board because I don't pay attention to my settings. And then I lent it to a friend who wanted. Oh yeah, that's what it was. My producer. I was going over to do a recording session. I'm like, anything you want me to bring over? He says, yes. Bring over your weirdest pedal. I'm like, Rainbow Machine. That's not even. That wasn't even a conversation or a debate.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you don't.
He's like, what does it do? I'm like, I don't know. It can be a chorus. It can be a delay. He's like, how can it be a chorus or a delay?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't ask me. Hey, I don't make the rules.
Yeah, I didn't build it. I just abuse it.
Excellent.
I just misuse it for my own reasons, I guess.
There's, the Rainbow Machine in a way kind of reminds me of the Chase Bliss Thermae. I got that like 5 years ago, and it's been kind of like roller coaster ride with it. Trying to come up with a setting that actually really works, and I managed to come up with a setting that I literally wrote a song around the setting, and so that makes me kind of happy about that. It doesn't make me so happy about incorporating it live, but
I was gonna say, then you have one of those boards. What's that poet? Well, I have that on the board just in case we do this one song. Yeah.
Yep. Pretty much. But
Rob Blackmore official asks, any thoughts on the Keeley's Dark Side pedal?
Love it. Love it. Did a demo of it many years ago. Not many years ago, but several years ago. I had a V1, so mine has the insert point for an effects loop, and I like that better than the V2. I don't like the order switch. I like the effects loop. Yeah, I was able to run the muff into the front of my orange and put all the modulation and the delay into the effects loop. Done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. It's a great pedal. Right? I actually, the one that I wish I hadn't gotten rid of, though, related to the Dark Side, was the Loomer. I really wish I still had the Loomer, because that soft focus reverb was really something special. Really special.
Jay Steen, friend of both of our channels, long time.
Hey, buddy.
Only pedal company I haven't played much with is Earthquaker. Don't know why. I've only had the Dunes EQ. That is odd. How do you only have an EQ from a company?
Well, I think the Dune. Wait, is the Dunes an EQ? I thought the Dunes was an overdrive. It doesn't matter. That's not the point.
It wouldn't surprise me if Earthquaker changes pedals but uses the same name. They do that.
Yeah, that could happen. I know they did. They had the Palisades, and then they had the Dunes. I can't remember exactly what's what. It's hard to keep track of with what everybody's coming out with these days.
What was it, Walrus, where they had the Julia and then the stereo version, the Juliana?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a little bit more like you can understand at. It's like Julia is the shorter name. It's a little bit less. And then Juliana is the longer name. And then that's got more stuff on it. I ended up actually getting rid of the Julia, but I kept Juliana. That's a great pedal. But it's not entirely surprising. That happens a lot. I know it happens with me. I've done several Earthquaker demos, but all those pedals end up coming from you guys. Every Earthquaker video I've ever done has been because one of my viewers has let me borrow a pedal for a certain amount of time. So like the Black Ash, I borrowed that from Darren, who some of you guys might know as DJ 7-String Guitar. And I borrowed the Life pedal from Jason Fuzzmonger. He's over, you know, that basically anytime I want an Earthquaker pedal, I generally put the call out. But it's not too unusual. It's like a lot of the stuff that Earthquaker does is really great. And Jamie's a very cool guy. He always is very kind to me. Julie is a very nice person as well. We just don't have a relationship where I'm getting pedals from them. And there's not really anybody in the area that carries much Earthquaker stuff. You know, Guitar Center does, and there's a Guitar Center very close by to me, but their selection is not great of Earthquaker stuff. So it just, that can happen. You know, sure, everybody loves certain brands. Like, I love Chase Bliss pedals, but they've gone direct. So it's not like you can go out and buy a Chase Bliss pedal just because. And then even that, like, the point of entry for a Chase Bliss pedal is pretty high.
It's not cheap. That's for
I'm lucky that I have a relationship with them, and we've known each other for years. And it's funny, I actually went through my email inbox as I'm actually working on a blog post for my website right now on the Mood Mark II, and I still have the original email from Joel telling me that Mood was coming out. And so I've incorporated some of his words into that blog post. But on that point of entry, since we got to the thumbs up things, I don't know if you know what I told people at the end of the video, Ben, because I don't know how much of it you watch, and if you watched any of it, I care.
And I think I caught most of it.
Yeah, what?
I was in and out because, yes, I was watching it, but I was like, I had it playing in the living room. I was going into the kitchen, and
I get it. That's how.
Because algorithm, too. You got to do at least 50% of a video, folks. At least
there
50%.
You go. But basically,
yes. Oh, right.
This is a Chase Bliss Mood Mark II, serial number 4,999. Now you might be thinking, no, that's just this. No, this is serial number 2,986. I did not make up those numbers randomly. I am not that intelligent. To prove it,
he usually counts to 4. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know how to count to 6.
Oh, okay.
Just to prove it, there you go.
There we are.
4,999 still in the plastic. The fun little Mood lapel pin.
Nice.
The sticker. Nice. And the field guide.
The propaganda. Gotta have the propaganda.
The propaganda. This is not one that I'm keeping because it's a second going on a different pedal board. I am giving this one away. So if you watched the video, you would have known that. Or, like Ben, because I see your email in the database, if you were a member of my email club, which is basically just my email list, you would have gotten a notification at the beginning of the month that this was this month's Stompbox Saturday giveaway.
That's right.
I am giving away serial number 4,999 to one of my email list subscribers. This is something that I wanted to start doing because it's the 10th season of Stompbox Saturday. I wanted to do more, but people have been flaking out on me. Luckily, Joel is not one of them. Right. So, if you want to find out how to win one of these, SeanPierceJohnson.com/giveaway. That's where you need to go. Once you enter this giveaway, though, the next giveaway, which I have a lead on what next month's giveaway will be, and it'll be very appropriate for Halloween.
Nice.
You are automatically entered. So you go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/giveaway right now. You will enter yourself to win this, And then every subsequent
Maybe
giveaway,
one of the mods can put the link in the chat. I'm waiting here.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Please, because I do not have access to that.
I don't know what Ryan means. He goes, wait, Ben, no, tell me. What? I'm not telling you what. I don't understand.
I don't know.
That's.
But yeah, one of these is.
I also want to point out, Ryan said earlier, I got a thing against EQ pedals. I don't.
Dear.
I just don't have a need for them because I've never had a disagreeable amp or something where I've needed to EQ, dial in or out a specific frequency. I'm happy with my tone. Just saying. I
like EQs. A Chase Bliss pedal is actually one of my favorites.
BC Rich. Every Stompbox Saturday in October will feature a pumpkin spice flavored Wampler Tumnus.
Look, I know I'm a white guy, but I'm not a basic white chick, okay? I don't do pumpkin spice. I take my coffee black, okay?
Yeah.
But yes.
Thank you, unbelievable.
Thank you, unbelievable. Sean
Rather ironic,
Johnson,
he's asking all the questions. He could put the link in the chat. So,
well, way to go, buddy. Maybe I'll just have to slide you into the top of the pile. I'm kidding. Yeah. I do random name selections, so you know, I even have like Ben is on the email list. He's a buddy, but he gets no preferential treatment. I draw everything randomly.
And believe me, we lend each other gear for demos, but the logistics, it's crazy.
Yes.
I'm not shipping this internationally. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to make it. The ad revenue will take 4 months to recoup the shipping costs.
There you go. Exactly. But I want to do this more. Like I like that I have these relationships with companies where I can make things like this happen. I know Jerry F is joking about, I was hoping it was the junior. Dude, I would love to be able to give away guitars. I would absolutely love to be able to give away guitars. I would love to be able to give away amps. I would love to be able to give away an entire pedal board. You know, I would love to be able to just like bless you guys out the butt.
Right.
But the one thing that I can say about this is like when you're doing this and you've gotten to like a certain level with it, where like this is what I do as a job, and I'm exploring new ideas about like how I can make this a more lucrative thing that I do, a more stable thing,
right?
Because it's not stable. You know, it's not always easy to get people to like commit to doing stuff.
I like that. My niece heard free pedal board, pedals not included.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, thanks. Unbelievable. The content is enough. Well, I appreciate that. But
I've had people mention that too. Like I've done a demo on, say, a more affordable guitar, and someone will comment, "Hey, you should just buy that and give it away on the channel." I was like, "Really? I am not in that position."
No, and that's the thing. Most of us just aren't.
Nope.
We're not really. This actually happened on Instagram a couple of years ago. Some guy was trolling me hard about like comparing me to Living Room Gear Demos. And he obviously doesn't know that Eric from Living Room Gear Demos and I have been buddies for years. In fact, I became aware of Living Room Gear Demos because he subscribed to my channel. So just putting that out there. But I told him like, yeah, man, this guy is like really hounding me about this, like comparing my channel to yours and like saying like, why don't you do this like Living Room Gear Demos? And it's just getting annoying.
Right.
Like I don't like, you know, throwing people under the bus, but this was getting to the point of like you should just get, oh, I remember what it was. It was because I had a bunch of pedals that I was posting on Instagram that like, hey, I've listed these on Reverb because I'm not using them. And he was, you know, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff that all that money coming in would actually have really helped me. And his whole thing is like, you should just be giving this away. And it's like, you do realize that most of these pedals were pedals that I didn't get paid to do the video at all. And the only way that I can make income off this is the paltry sum for ad revenue and then selling the pedal. Like I don't keep everything that I have.
Exactly. Yeah. So, when that's the thing, like I don't think Fun fact, folks, if you don't know, what's up, Trev? Trev's eating, by the way. Until you reach a certain stat, it's sort of like the guys who get the free guitars from the guitar companies to go out on tour with, as an endorsement, we're making enough money selling records. They don't need the free guitars to go out on tour with. Whereas the struggling musician can't afford, that kind of similar to, if you see us producing content, either A, we bought the product ourselves because we're already interested in it and might as well make a video on it to try to recoup some of the cost because you want this, or quite often the company will say, here, make this demo, your payment is the product.
Yeah.
And then you reach a certain level, status, whatever one, market penetration, where they'll say, I'll give you this and $100, and then it becomes this and $500, and this and $1,000. But you got to be Tim Pierce, Pete Thorne.
I feel like the way that what we've gotten into with the conversation right now is very topical right now.
Yes. Because
of some certain person who decided to create drama where it didn't belong. And it was like, I'm exposing a secret. You mean the worst kept secret in the gear world?
Right.
Man, it really sucks because it's like, I'm looking at the chat as it's going on, and you guys are leaving some really funny comments, and then there's some really insightful ones that it really, I appreciate reading stuff like that, where it's like the content is enough, and it's like what you guys do, it takes effort, it takes time, and it does take effort, and it does take time. It's also taking a sizable investment in equipment too.
Yes.
And a sizable amount of time to learn how to do this well. There's a big trust issue right now that's been raised because of some of this recent drama stuff.
Right.
And it sucks because I think what has been, Michael, don't even worry about it. It is what it is. Billy Baloney, you're really kind to say that because I've said that from the beginning.
I literally that channel, when it came up on the homepage, I clicked those 3 dots. Sean says, do not recommend this channel. Yeah. Which is effectively blocking the channel. Yeah.
And you know what? And I've said this before. I went on about this. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The worst part about that for me is that kid is actually a great guitar player. He is really good. Really good. He's really good. Notice how many times I said that. He is really good. I'm saying that to emphasize it because it's true. But that's not what he's chosen to do. And it's really sad because if he would lean into his actual gift and his actual talent, more people would be open to working with him. More people would be not just like, oh, I'm going to pay you money to do a demo. I mean, from the standpoint of when you meet him, you don't want to start hurling insults at him. I don't want to hurl insults at him because, maybe one day I'll tell a story about seeing him at NAMM. But that would be behind a paywall.
Yeah. That's what I do. The Zoom hang.
That's the beginning of the count. That's the beginning of the countdown to me starting an OnlyFans.
Well, see, that's where, like say, Sean, the like when I do the Zoom hang with the channel member, that's when I'll have somebody say, "What do you really think about this guy?" Because when you've been approached about this channel, you just ignore the question in the chat or choose not to answer it. Well, on those situations, I'm not going to openly slag somebody, but I will give you my honest opinion. Very honest, unfiltered opinion, we'll say.
Right. And it's like, one of the things that I've been doing lately is I've been exploring better and more the idea of like fan support so that I can, be more directly connected with those of you watching that like what I do and want something that's a bit farther than what I do here on YouTube. Which I'm actually very close to figuring out how I want to do it. It's just now the admin is part of it, and then figuring out like what I'm going to give you guys for your hard-earned money. But I think I have some cool ideas that are coming into my head, but it's just I got to know when to actually get it started and when to launch it. But I do want to do that again because I actually had an idea come through a friend of mine. He was asking me, it basically turned into like a mini lesson. And I was like, okay, I like this. Like maybe other people would like this too, but like, I'm not going to do this just, for the normal stuff that I do. I'd much rather do it, for you guys, one-on-one, yada, yada. But it comes what I was saying earlier, this idea of trust has been sort of broached now, and we were kind of getting to that point. And I don't think I don't think a lot of people realize, like some of these comments that I'm seeing go by in the chat, it's pretty clear that a lot of you guys watching have a much more grounded view of what Ben and I do and how those of us that do this like approach things in a very different way. Straight up, like I look at the YouTube guitar world in a very free market capitalist kind of way. Anybody can do it at any time. They can do whatever they want. They can do it however they want. And everybody does it the way that they want to do it.
Yeah, like our approach to demo videos, completely different.
Exactly. And I don't think I've ever met anyone that has, and anybody that I consider to be a friend and speak to on a regular basis. I don't really know anyone that got into this thinking like, this is going to be my job. I'm only doing, I sell everything that I do for money. My opinion can be paid for. I have never, the argument that I see now completely is like, oh, everybody's opinion is bought. And it's like, no, like I've never, not once, actually only once with one company, had them come out and say like, we want this, we want that, we want a specific review.
Yeah.
And you know what I did? I said no.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a product worth $700 that's actually very good right now, sitting in the other room in a gig bag that has not gotten a video made because I did, one of the conditions was I write an Amazon review. Totally cool. I can do that in addition to a video. I'm fine with that. Fine.
Yep. I
posted it, and you know what? If you wanna go look it up. It's the Moore GTRS S801 in shell pink. My review is on that product page, and I gave it a 4-star review. I wrote a lot of good about it, and I said the things that are not so great about it. The app for the GTRS is kind of clunky. It's not easy to navigate, and it took me a couple weeks to figure out how to really use it. And that really kind of was a bummer for me because I wanted to be able to get, I generally know what I'm doing when it comes to this stuff. But the fact that this app wasn't easy to get a grip on for a few weeks was kind of a letdown. But other than that, the guitar is actually way better than you would think it would be. It plays great. The pickups sound great. It's a great modern Strat style guitar. About a week later, I got an email from someone at Moore asking me to change my 4-star review to a 5-star review. And I'm like, no, I'm uncomfortable doing that. I'm not going to do that because I've already written the review. The review is there. I can't I can't just go back and edit the review, because then if I give it 5 stars, then every ding I gave, which was not even a ding on the guitar itself, it was a ding on the software.
Right.
The software is part of the package. And if the full package is not perfect, it doesn't get 5 stars. Like, straight up, it just doesn't. And I was really looking forward to be able to say, like, this guitar is way better than it deserves to be. And it has some really fun sounds. I've traveled with it. I've taken it with me on trips just to have a guitar, like, playing around. Like, I would happily say that I was going to give it a really nice video, just saying, again, like, the app is a little clunky, but you will figure it out if you take the time. But it's going to take you some time. And they wanted me to make it a 5-star review, and I said no. And that pretty much killed the video for it. Right. Because it's like, if they're gonna have me change my opinion, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah.
It's like, it's one thing if a company says, hey, can you hit these, say, 4 highlights of a pedal, 4 features we would like, because we're really proud of this feature or that. That's one thing. But when it's literally, can you say verbatim the following line? No.
And I actually just got
it's exclusively available here. You want that said? That fine.
It's one thing if you want a feature emphasized.
Yeah.
But it's another thing entirely to say we want you to give this opinion on it. It's never going to happen.
Nope.
It does not. I don't
like Ryan Hall said. It is a business, but people basically follow us for our opinion and our trustworthiness. And once you lose that, there's no getting it back.
So I'm just, I didn't, and that's one of those things, like talking about, we were joking about behind the paywall and the OnlyFans and, the fan support thing, like putting something like that behind a paywall. I really wrestled with this since that happened. I did, because I didn't want people to think like ill of Moore, because the products that Moore puts out are affordable, which everybody needs affordable stuff right now.
Yep.
With the way that everybody's economy is going, people need to be able to stretch their dollar farther. So I didn't want to do that. Also, the product in and of itself is not a bad product. It's not a bad product. I will say right now, it does not matter that they asked me to change my opinion. It does, but at the same time, it doesn't, because the product in and of itself is still something I have and still something that I play and enjoy. I'm just not promoting it. But it's like, I don't want to say these things in public, because I do understand the weight of the words that, and the responsibility that we have as demoers, creators, content people, whatever. I know the responsibility that we have. And to me, slander is not part of that responsibility. My point in doing this is to be able to guide you all as best as possible when something like this gets in front of your face and you're like, what the hell does this thing do? Pull up a chair for a little while. Let's sit down. Let's figure out what it does. This is $400. Do any of you right now, some of you might, I don't know, have $400 that you can just say, yeah, screw it, I'm just going to go buy one of these $400 pedals right now? The majority
and if you do have that kind of surplus cash, super chats are open. No.
There you go. There you go. Tie it all back into the thing.
Right.
But I can't do that. That my job is to get you guys confident to be able to say, wow, I really like the way that he showed me how to use this. Now, if I wanted to go buy that, I could say, at least when I get it at first, I might not be an expert with it, but at the very least, I have a very good idea of where I can get started. And I can't spend your money for you. I don't have a straw that goes across the room and I drink your milkshake. That's your money is in your wallet and your bank account. It ain't in mine. That's for damn sure.
And I'm going to say too, like I said, you know, like say, I've seen a lot of comments people are mentioning. It's sort of like, thanks, unbelievable. He says, not quite 400. Appreciate it.
I like that.
You know, it's like it's the rule of thumb is like for every minute of video you see, that could be up to an hour of work for every minute you see. But some people don't realize is like other channels, you know, they can just say, hey, here's the product, blah, blah, blah. Whereas being a musical based, you know, where you're either going to write a piece of music to go around the product of some kind, not to mention I don't know about, you know, everybody in the chat, but I pretty much need to play a certain amount of time every single day to maintain my chops, if you will.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if you play badly in a video and that video is up there forever, you're just going to have lines and lines of people going, this guy sucks. He's terrible. Blah, blah, blah. Tune your guitar. But whatever it is. Whereas, and there none of those people that watch the video are going to subscribe to the channel. They're like, this guy's terrible. Unless you're quite entertaining. And that's where, you know, I try to entertain due to my lack of playing abilities. Therefore, but you gotta put it in a competent performance at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, it's like there's a lot, you know, I think it was unbelievable that asked to, you know, it was about like approaching the demos and like, do I just come up with stuff? Do I plan things out? And there's a lot of planning that goes into the things that we do. Especially on my end, you know, because I can speak from experience. There's a lot of prep that goes into what I do. And then not only that, like there's figuring out how it works within my week. There's, I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 videos that I can shoot, but there's some stuff that might come up this week that if I have to, like, there's a good chance I might have to be making a long car trip this week. I don't know. I won't know until tomorrow evening. So until tomorrow night, I can't really plan on making this stuff happen. And if I have to make that long car trip, I won't get back until sometime midway next week. So it's like, well, gee, how can I fit in making 5 videos when there's probably a week of my life that's going to have to be just, you know, gone. We're certainly not the film and TV studios or the streaming services. We all have lives.
We also don't have that budget either. Wait, they have a budget.
Well, maybe. I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Yeah. So we'll say. I like Devin says, I trust a working musician. You know, I'm the same way, and I'm not taking anything away from the home player. I don't like using the term bedroom player, the home player. But for me, you know, when I got into YouTube, which was before I even started doing my own channel, when I was just using it as a, you know, search results, like Google, hey, you know, I'm looking up this pedal, Sean would come up, you know, and I could tell this guy, you know, and, you know, reading in the background, you know, figure out stuff from watching videos, working musician, you know, the man has gone out, he's gigged, he's toured. And I'm like, yes, okay. And that's one of the things is, and I know you've had it happen, Sean. Oh, you know, this product, great in the bedroom at bedroom volume, but then for whatever reason, you put it out on stage in front of live loud, and there's a noise, there's something that didn't show up until you put it through its paces in anger, if you will.
Yeah, so, sometimes things just really don't live up. Other times things most of the time, and the reason why I think some people think that like our opinions can be bought, companies right now cannot afford to put out bad equipment. They can't, because the core to public
competition.
Yeah, well, there's too much competition, one, and for better or worse, it depends on the day. Social media makes everybody's opinion valid. So let's just say, for example, that Walrus Audio puts out a new distortion pedal. I don't know. The Walrus Audio light switch, hypothetically speaking, of course. It's got 4 knobs. It's $175. It's a totally new idea. It uses different combinations of components.
Right.
It's this, that, and the other. It's $175. I'm willing to bet that that is actually going to be pretty good, because Walrus has a reputation for their stuff being good. But now, let's just hypothetically say that Sean was to start his own pedal company, and he decided that he was going to be putting out a refined and updated version of the Electro Harmonix Muff Fuzz. And, well, I put it out there, and it's $175 as well, because I'm a small company. I can only afford to make very small batches. But I was able to figure out a way to meet that price point. I better hope that I did all my work right, and that when people start buying this $175 pedal, that it's actually going to be on par with the Walrus stuff. Because if it's not, somebody is going to tell someone somewhere.
Yeah. And
if my first product is a loser, my second one isn't probably going to be a winner.
Yeah.
If I'm not putting quality out, then there's no chance of success.
Yep.
You have to put out.
And going out on the road, stuff has to be reliable, right? That's the whole thing. I can't be, doing sound check in Cleveland at 7 p.m. on a Thursday night, and all of a sudden, my overdrive that I used for a third of the set decides to stop working. Well, then it's like, well, is there a guitar shop still open, this time at night? Can we get over there? Hopefully they have a selection,
Yeah. And that ends up being why a lot of guys end up defaulting to stuff like Dunlop and MXR and Boss, and there's more Walrus stuff I'm starting to see out there, actually, just because it's starting to become more readily available. But guys want stuff like, you look at Prince's pedal board. His last pedal board was entirely Boss stuff with a Line 6 Stomp Box modeler. I can't remember which one it was, but that was all stuff that you could just walk into any Guitar Center and you could pick up. There was nothing fancy about it.
Yeah, like Devin just says, that's why Billy Duffy uses Boss pedals. Because you can pick them up anywhere.
Yep. And they're good. Plain and simple. They're just good.
Yeah, and I look at like Boss, MXR, stuff. It's like a Ford or a Chevy pickup. Nothing fancy, gets the job done. They're not cool, but they're functional. You want cool, well, then you're looking at your Walrus, your Earthquaker, your Mr. Blacks, but you got to pay a premium for that stuff. Because, again, they're making it in smaller runs. And
it's important to consider when you're buying stuff. Well, flip reverse it. Rewind. Take that. Rewind it back. So let's just use me as an example, since I'm here and you're here. We're all here. We're all having a good time. Thanks so much for sticking around with us.
Yes.
I'll just go ahead and say, oh, I wish I had a better example for you, but I'm just going to go with it. Okay. So if for some reason or another, I was using the Walrus Audio ACS1 tonight. That when I play for silent stage gigs, which is usually mostly at church, which I'm a volunteer at, by the way. I'm not on staff. I don't get paid to play there. But that's beside the point. Point is, I get that and I play it and it's great and I love it. I think there's some good sounds with it. Let me show you how it works in the context of a rig and of a pedal board. Fantastic. Well, I decided to take it out on the road, and some people buy it, and because of my video, and that's great, fantastic. Well, let's just say, for example, I'll just use Unbelievable as an example. Unbelievable watches my video, the ACS1, and decides that he's going to buy one for himself. Cool. That's awesome. Hopefully he uses my Sweetwater affiliate link so I get a little commission.
Right.
But he gets it and he says, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good. La, 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 la. Not saying that's what you sound like, Unbelievable. Just speaking in hypotheticals here. So he decides he's going to return it. He decides he doesn't like it, and that's all. That's the end of that. But then he says, Sean, I hold you personally responsible for this. Most people hold me personally responsible for their pedal purchases anyway, so what else is new?
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're all guitar players with different opinions. And like we're singing the praises of Boss stuff right now, but there are just as many players out there right now that aren't so great with Boss pedals. I thought about it, but wouldn't blame me. Well, I appreciate that, but just
the problem I have with Boss pedals is they don't like to stack well with others and stuff. They don't play well with others. Like, you know, like you can take 3 Earthquaker and Walrus, say low to medium gain overdrives. You know, stack and cascade sounds great, sounds lush. You throw a Boss into the mix, and I don't know what's made because they're buffered and the others are true bypass. I don't know what it is, but they just don't want to play well with others, I find.
Interesting. Because I just did the Westminster Effects Physician demo that I did a few weeks back. I stacked an OD1 into that, and I actually really liked the way that worked. I like what Michael was saying. Wait, this guy plays at church and isn't talking about Strymons?
Right?
It's because 1, Strymon doesn't send me pedals, and 2, I can't afford them.
He's not on staff. If he's on staff making the money, then he can afford the Strymon.
Exactly. But also, Walrus sends me the pedals, so
that's right.
You know, I use what I get sent. But yeah, it's like all our opinions are very different. And like you saying, like they don't stack well. And I'm like, I did it and it was fine. You know? So
actually, I think the Angry Driver will stack.
Yeah, definitely.
But then it's been modded by a guy who likes true bypass stackable pedals. So I don't know.
Go.
Is it the Josh mods that make it stackable? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Who knows? So to kind of bring it back to the whole trust thing, it's like the only thing that you should really trust us to be able to do is to show you how to use something, show you some of the potential of it, and then give you an idea of whether or not it will work for you. At the most, we should be able to confidently inform you in making a purchase. We can't make that purchase for you, and and I'm not even saying that it's gonna work for you if you buy it, because there's a chance that it won't. There's always going to be a chance that it won't. So proceed.
Well, it's like some people always got to have a tube screamer on their boards, and other people can't stand to have a tube screamer on their board.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah,
it means more for other people, I guess.
Yeah. You just gotta, at the end of the day, understand that you have to understand that we all have an opinion. I will say, just for me, answer the question, can you trust my opinion? I am not asking you to trust my opinion.
Yep.
I'm asking you to watch me show you how this thing works.
Right.
And take a listen to some of these musical examples.
Yep. That's why I also label my videos as demos and not reviews.
Yeah. I've actually gotten to a point where I'm kind of getting away from giving my opinion, because I've realized over the course of the last year that I'll tend to give an opinion in a video, and it's amazing how offended people get by your opinion of a guitar pedal.
Yep.
It's incredible.
That's
I did
true.
see a question that I actually wanted to just address real quick.
Sure.
Jeff K is asking, can you tell us what's up with Guitar House, guitar-minded YouTube content creators? How did this concept start? Well, I can't really tell you about what's up with Guitar House. I can tell you it's, as far as I know, it's not happening again this year. I was at the one last year. I did see Ryan at NAMM, and we did briefly talk about it, planning it for sometime in 2024. He's giving me the dates, and I'm like, buddy, that's over a year away now. I don't make plans that far in advance.
Right. Yeah, unless it's a wedding that I'm directly involved in. That's the only way I'm making plans more than a year.
Exactly. But I don't really know how the concept of guitar YouTube content started. Some guy had a thing that he wanted to shoot it. I know how it started for me. I had an orange amplifier that they weren't as readily available as they are now. And I thought, hey, I like this thing a lot. People would probably want to hear how this sounds. And so let me throw up a camera and show people how this thing sounds. Oh, I can put it up on YouTube. Okay, people can watch it. That's how it started for me. Spur of the moment. Didn't even think of it. Didn't even prepare for it. Everything that you see in that first demo
was
literally off the cuff. Oh, I have to prepare.
You do, because you're much more in depth, whereas I try to go for a 0 edit, 1 take, and what you get's what you get.
Yeah.
Especially if I screw up my playing more than 5 minutes into the video, because I know there's an option to edit. I don't edit. I just power through. So somebody's asking, let's see, Charles says, is there a particular effect that Sean has a weakness or affinity for? And since he asked me, I'm going to say yes. Oof. Sean has both an affinity and a weakness for a good fuzz.
Yeah, that's true. And it's man, I haven't played a good one in a while. You know, last year I don't think I got any fuzzes. Yeah. But I actually used a fuzz in the Mood demo. Funnily enough, a Boss pedal. I got to borrow a bunch of Boss pedals recently, actually a few months ago, and one of them is the Wazacraft fuzz. And I've been kind of like toying around with some of these Boss pedals that I have. One of which I think I might have just kicked on the floor.
That's okay. They can handle it.
It's gonna be fine. Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say it's gonna be fine. You know, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I was actually really impressed with the way that it's stacked with the Walrus Audio fundamental distortion.
Well, we know the Walrus Audio is doing all the heavy lifting in that.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that. No, I do love a really good fuzz. If anything, it's just because it proves to me that simple circuits, because fuzz pedals tend to be incredibly simple,
Yep.
can have such variation
Mm-hmm.
depending on who's making it.
That's true.
Some good ones that I've played recently, mostly are ones that I've played, years ago. Michael's asking the follow up a particular flavor. I've always been a Big Muff guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just
For
because
me, it depends on pickups. I've got a preference for, Big Muff all the way for humbuckers. That's and then a fuzz face style for singles.
I like the Big Muff more often than not. I have an op amp Big Muff that I like a lot. It's just the reissue. It's not anything special.
Sure.
But I've played Ram's heads are fantastic. I have a black and yellow Russian reissue that I love to death. Jay Steen's talking about the Keeley Fuzzbender. That was one of my favorite. That was my favorite pedal that I demoed a few years ago. Loved it so much that Keeley and I collabed on a little giveaway with a custom colorway. That was pretty awesome. I love that.
And Aaron won it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Saved you on the shipping. We just brought him over to your house.
Exactly. He didn't get the cool serial number, though. I got to keep the cool serial number. I got serial number 1969.
Yeah.
Because I kept one for myself, of course. But I've been getting into exploring the fuzz face world again. Which I haven't really been a big fan of in the past, mostly just because of stuff like inconsistencies. But I've gone back to Eric Johnson a lot lately, so I've been wanting to dip my toes back into that fuzz face world. Ooh. That's
Lawrence
nice.
did a fuzz face with a bias control, which I require a bias
cool.
control for all my fuzzes so I can tame it.
Nice.
Give it some juice. I don't want
cool.
Oh, you don't have the dead battery sound? No, I want it to sound like it's got a fresh battery. Sorry.
And funnily enough, on the subject of the dead battery, another one of my favorites from last year was the Wonder Effects Fuzzhausen, which of course bridges my two favorite worlds of guitar and pro wrestling together in a really fun way. Nick really helped me out on that one. He cut me a really great deal on that pedal, so it was a more affordable for me at that time. But yeah, I love a good fuzz. Other than that, I'm probably gonna say that outside of that, probably a sucker really for thought this was going to be easier to answer, but fuzz definitely is up there. I would say actually, if there's any other one, it's probably delay these days.
Okay.
I'll
throw it out to the crowd. What do you think my guilty pleasure affinity pedal is?
Yeah, I see what Martian Murray is saying. The Shields blender kind of seems complicated. I'm just waiting for Fender to put the Fender blender in one of those nice enclosures with the light up knobs. That's all I want. I don't want the extra stuff that Kevin Shields wants. I just want the Fender blender. That's all I've ever wanted. Just bring that back, please.
All right. Yeah. All right. Brockway was the first correct answer, and then Charles.
Oh yeah, I should have remembered that.
Yeah.
You kind of hinted at that when we got started.
Yeah.
Unbelievable's asked this question a few times in the chat, but we keep missing it.
Yes, and this will probably wrap up after this. But it is a good question.
Practice tips on pick attack, electric versus acoustic.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I've been actually thinking about because of this single single pickup video. So I actually think one of the best things that you can do to practice playing dynamics is get yourself a nice crunchy sound going. You don't want it to be too saturated, but you want there to be a decent amount of saturation in order to be like a really good rock sound. You know what? Hold on a second. I'll just demonstrate as I'm here.
Okay. Just answer Lawrence's question in a moment here. Lawrence Cash Velasquez asking if they make a DoD phaser. Why, yes, they do. I just had to rip it off my board.
Ooh. Nice.
Yep.
Okay, so back with the LP Junior. Let's. There we go. All right. So I'll go back with that. I'll just leave the reverb on. I'll take the. So this is my rev tilt sound. So automatically, the first thing that you can do is obviously with the guitar volume full up, you can just kind of start paying attention to what it sounds like when you start to really smack the string. And then just ever so slightly start lessening that up. Let me mute the microphone. So that's first thing. Observe and listen to what's happening when you're playing harder versus when you're playing softer.
Right.
Because then that also, you start getting that. You start being able to sense like, okay, this is the amount of effort that I'm going to go to get that really smacky thing versus. But then
also, because I know he has one, the old school LPD Saguaro, which is like a Klon boost, is the most pick attack sensitive pedal I've ever played. Where when you dig in, very dirty, and when you back off, cleans right up.
Yeah.
Hook that up, Chris, because that'll adjust, because you dig in, you're like, no, keep it clean. Keep it clean. So
nice.
Yeah.
I love the name of that. It's just the Saguaro.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what else you can do? So here's full up. Start bringing the volume back just a little bit at a time. And just at that point where that saturation starts to disappear when you pick hard. See, that's that point on the volume where it's like it's starting to get a little bit more gritty. Just at the point just below that. It's kind of like the Eddie Van Halen thing. Throw it all to hell and then back it off a bit. But what's great about this kind of area of the volume control is this is where you can start feeling like, this is where that like then the reason I say with the crunchy sound, as opposed to playing clean, is because once you start incorporating some kind of saturation and gain, if you're just playing clean, like with my session-y sound, there's not really much that you can say about like, oh, I could sense my dynamics there. Because it's all just clean. But when you have a little bit of grit, let's put this at like 5.5 right now. There's a little bit of twang and a little bit of something there, but if you go light, you get that like wiry sound of the string. It's one of those things. I can give you some tips on how you can do it, but I can't really definitively tell you how it happened. It just comes from I'm learning this more and more with the way that I've played over the years, is that a lot of it ends up coming down to they just happened. And I don't really remember how they developed. So now I'm going back and I'm sort of deconstructing my playing habits and trying to figure out if there's a way that I can articulate the things that I do.
And it's very hard to express and teach, like that feel, that touch.
And the other thing too is I think it was the same thing with a buddy of mine who was asking me about metal guitar and the palm mutes. And he's like, is it because of the tuning? Is it because of the tone and the way that it's recorded? Like, how do you think? And I'm like, what exactly are you looking for? And it's like, well, it's just those chugs and those palm mutes are always so, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I busted out the 7-string for it really too, to like really get the heaviosity going. And I'm just sitting there like, and I suddenly with it, and it happened in very quickly. I realized that it's not all in the picking hand. It's the combination of what you do with the picking hand and the fretting hand together. Because if you do that sort of chuggy thing, if I just do what I just did, listen closely. Those first strums, those aren't choked by my fretting hand. But if I do this,
effectively using your left hand as a noise gate.
You're using both hands.
Or a gate.
It's the way you pick, the way you mute strings. It's at the bridge and on the neck. It's not just about it's not just about one or the other. It's completely everything.
Right.
So
in the follow-up, Chris there, he says, I always dig in too tough with the pick, punk rock kid. Use the thinner pick, then you can't dig in. Use a 0.35. There's no digging in. It'll just wrap around the string.
No, you break it.
Right?
You'll break the pick before you break the pick before you break your string. I also I know a lot of guys who don't really like jazz picks. I actually have a friend who like treats them like they're the plague. But I do at certain points when I'm trying to work on dexterity things, and I'll even at some points like favor them too. I will use jazz picks to really get the precision. But yeah, the delicacy and the accuracy and articulation, it's a difficult thing because, in rock and roll, it's not always that important. But at the same time, it's Scott Brockaway, good recommendation right there. The Jazz 3 XLs, those are fantastic. I also love the Tortex, the T3s, the Tortex 3s, Tortex shape, but it's got the Jazz 3 tip. So I love that. Having a more precise
currently
tip.
using whatever comes free with a pedal.
Hey, no hate on that. No hate on that.
Although it's wearing down. I can tell. I was doing a bunch of chugging because it's all worn off on one side.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, just try a pick with a more precise tip.
Mm-hmm. Or like say a more delicate pick. It forces you to relax.
That too. And just use your ears more than you use your mind.
Yep.
Listen to what you're playing.
See, he plays with the picks that LPD sends him. Yeah, these are very thick. These are like a 1.14.
Oh, wow.
There's no bendy to them. Because I do use these picks. Again, whatever comes with a pedal, folks, is what I use.
Excellent.
Yeah,
man. Those would be my tips.
I love it. Here we are. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to me and Sean.
Yes, please do.
Subscribe.
Yes,
the moderators have been putting links in the chat. Thank you very much, moderators, for moderating and all that fun stuff.
And don't forget SeanPierceJohnson.com/giveaway, giving away this Mood Mark II.
Get in there. Otherwise, I'm going to win it.
Yeah.
Then I got to make a 45-minute demo of it. And I don't want
it. Oh, man. Maybe I'll just slide you into the top and just so I can watch you do a demo of one of these. Oh, no. Sorry. Something fell. Everything's fine. Okay. Everything's fine, everybody.
Drop the pedals. At least you didn't drop the guitar,
Yeah, that would be bad because then
I've already seen that happen once on the live stream. Guy dropped a custom shop Les Paul, survived unscathed. Ooh. Never. It's not going to happen to me twice in my life. So please, folks, don't drop your guitar.
Yeah. But please do. It's great to always come back. And now it's broken. Says Carcuts. What a dirty mark that guy is. Yeah, it's great to always be back with you, Ben. I appreciate you always having me on. It's awesome.
We'll definitely do it again.
I have to confess, I've kind of missed the live streams lately. Or maybe that's just frustration. I'm just going to do these demos live to tape. We're going to do it live. Anyway.
There we are. I'll be back tomorrow night with Terry and Trev doing Connects with Guitars live Q&A and some live jams. Maybe we'll run down the new LPD pedal. I don't know. We'll see. Depends if I remember to put it back on my board or not. Although we do have a special pedal there for tomorrow night. I like to swap a different one each week, Sean. Grab something out of the collection, throw it on the peel. What's that? Last week it was the Rock Tech Metalworker.
Oh.
Because nobody's going to guess. Are you playing a Rock Tech? Nobody's going to guess. Nobody.
Right. Oh, man. Rock Tech. What a
the
brand.
Original plastic housing.
Yeah, for real. Oh man, we could go on and on, and we've been at this for almost 2 hours.
And that's why we'll do another part. So I've been Ben, Sean's been Sean, y'all have been y'all. As always, hold those doors open. Let Jay Steen ahead of you in traffic. He's driving for a living, folks. Is what I'm saying. Happy tone chasing, and of course, just don't let her.